Guys and girls, and welcome back to another episode from n-Scenic. We're in our new home. This is our shop we've just opened in Blackpool. We're on Living Road. If by chance that you come to Blackpool to visit, come and say hello. We've got most of our stock out on display now, so you can come and have a look at the models as they're constructed. And we've got stock on the walls for you to buy ready to go. Right, so getting back to the video, this is our latest release. It is the Grand Station, we're calling it. We do three versions or three types of the stations for you to purchase. So we've got the terminus as shown here. So it has one open end for the trains to enter and one entrance and exit for passengers. We're doing a run-through version which will come at the same end as the entrance here, and it'll come here. And then we do an extension, so it's the same length, constructed in the exact same manner, it just doesn't come with any ends. So you butt them up together. We have in the kit pieces to join and hide the joins, and then you use the existing ends from your other kit and put it on further down like so, and then you can create whatever length you want. The measurements for this are available on the website, just go and check them out. And so to begin with, because the kit comes in white card as well as dark grey card, and to get the effect showing here, I know some of you may struggle or might be wondering how I do that. It's dead simple. So we don't need to worry about the grey cards to get our model started. They're going to stay as is for now. So what we're going to concentrate on is the white pieces of card, and we're going to cut out all the pieces that we see in front of us now. So I'll progress now. I will start cutting these away from the card that it comes in. This is how it'll arrive for you. We'll get all the pieces together and then we'll get on to how I paint it. Now if you don't want to watch this bit, by all means skip forward to the build process for the station, and I'll do a little link at the bottom so you can see how far to skip along to. So if you do want to watch and see how simple it is to spray up, by all means carry on watching this section and I'll get to it. So I'm just going to nip, like I said, nip around, cut all the little tabs out with a sharp knife, and get all my pieces together, and then I'll bring you in closer and show you what part I'm going to paint what colour. Okay guys, so we've got all the pieces cut out now, and I'll show you which parts need to be painted what. So we've got all the pieces with the brickwork detail etching, so we've got two matching of them. We have two more side pieces again with the etched brickwork detail in them, they need painting. And we've got some more, again, two matching with brick detail work on them. So they all need painting the same colour. So I'll just stack them up. We've got two thin, long etched lines. They're going to go on the fascia of one of our station ends. So where the space is, these will be overlaid on top. So I'm going to paint that the same colour. We're going to take our station entrance in three pieces, like so. Again, they're going to be painted the same colour. And last piece remaining, we're going to paint in the brick colour is the other station end. That's the inside of the station, okay? So we've got all our parts there which we're going to paint in the brick colour. So I'll just put them to one side. Now as for the grey colour or steel colour, whichever colour you decide to spray these, it's not set in stone that you have to paint these grey, but I've got the entrance where the trains come in for the station, so that's going to be painted in grey for me. I've got all the internal supports for the station which go across the canopy, underneath the canopy roof. They're all going to be painted grey for me. I've got this larger etched roof sheet, that's going to be sprayed grey for me. That's going to be the roof for the station entrance, so I'll do that grey for me, so that's a base coat. And then we've got all the internal supports which go across the roof. We want to spray them the same colour. We've got all of them, and then finally we've got one long thin strip. There's actually two in the kit, but we only need one, and I'm going to do that the same colour I sprayed these. So again, if you choose to do a different colour for the internal supports, spray that the same colour. Okay, and then we're left with these last remaining bits. I'll paint them by hand when I'm doing the extra thin detail work later on. So, okay, so for what I use to spray, there's several methods you can paint the model with by any means. For quickness and for ease for everyone to do, a simple red oxide or a red primer you use for cars is a perfect base colour for the brick. So I've got a plastico version here. Again, this is called just a primer. So it's a really good match, and you will get from the can, this is what I sprayed this in, it's that kind of brick dark red. You can get various different shades, whether you want to go lighter, darker, even sandstone colour or limestone colour, any colour you want, but I'm going to stick to that for now. So like I said, I'm going to spray it. Everyone can go out and buy a spray can, it's not hard. If you've got an airbrush, you can use airbrush, and you can dry brush the brick detailed work as well if you don't want to go out and buy anything special and you've got the paint there ready. Just put it on in thin coats, and it goes for when we're spraying it with an airbrush or a spray can. We don't want to saturate the card, we just want to do a few thin dustings and build them up gradually. That way the card won't get saturated, warp and bend, and we won't lose the etched detail and work we've got within the model, which makes it really stand out. So yeah, just dust over it, give it time to dry, go back, build up gradually. You can always put more on, you can't take more off. So to show you a quick sample, I'm just going to place a piece of card here. I will spray the rest outside, but I'm just going to quickly show you one of the walls that we're going to do. So using the red paint, I'll face this towards you. So give it kind of a good shake, and I'm just going to dust over it. I'm going to let that dry and take it outside, and I'll do it more. So the same for all the pile of brickwork that we got before. I'm going to do the exact same process as what I did with the spray can, and just build up the colour until it's solid. Don't forget to just turn each card bit round or come out a different direction so we're getting all the inside bits painted as well. Okay, and as for the grey sections, if I take our window over here, I'm just using a grey primer. You can't see this one as well, paint all over it. Again, you can pick these up from most car shops. We've got Halfords here in Blackpool. The primer, this grey primer I actually bought from Poundland for £1. They don't sell the red, unfortunately, so I had to pick that up from somewhere else. But Halfords is a great place to get all your primers and paints if you want to use them. So again, good shape, and I'm just going to give it a quick dusting, let that dry, I'll spin it round, I'll do another coat, and once that dry, that side is completely done with all the grey stuff, flip it over and do the other side. So all the parts that we're going to paint grey, we're going to do both sides. With the brickwork, we don't need to, we just want to respray the pieces with the brickwork showing. The backs doesn't matter, they're going to be overlapped and layered, as you'll see in the build later. So again, for the roof, like I said before, this is going to be the station roof outside. Just a quick blast with the spray can, allow that to dry, go back, and so on. So I'm going to go outside now, I'm going to spray these up, I'll come back and I'll show you the next little bit of detailing work I do before I start constructing the model. Right guys, so we're back from the spray booth now. We've got everything sprayed up that we wanted to, so we've got all our brick sprayed up. Like I said, I've just done the one side with the brick etching on. We've got all our grey sprayed up, both sides. So the grey bits we don't need for now, so I'll just put them to one side. And this is now, I'm just going to do some detailing work for you. I'm not going to show you all of it because there's a lot, but you'll get the idea. So looking back on our constructed model, I'm now going to go in, I'm now going to go in and paint all the arches. I've chosen to do green, but I'm going to do all the arches and the doors on the front, as well as the window frames up here, and that's on both sides of the model. So that's my next job, and then we'll start construction of the model after I've done that. So I'll just show you what I'm going to do. So you'll see the parts required to paint the arches. That's if you want to. Is you can see the etched line just on the outside of these two pieces. So we've got two matching ones. We're going to do both sides of them. I'm going to go in and paint the window frames on this now, as well as the front of the station. So I'll paint the window frames, the doors, and I will do the window frame for the front of the station as well. So I'll do both sides on this because the inside will be visible from the inside when we put this layer on. So I'll do both sides of the window frame. So I don't want to bore you and show you all me painting just a little bit of green around the edges, so I'll just do a little bit for now and show you what I'm doing. So the paints I'm going to use is Deco Art acrylic paint. It's nothing special. You can use whatever paint you've got. It's just what I've got to hand within the shop. So I'll take just a bit of this dark forest green, it's called, if you're interested, Deco Art version. I'll be listing these on the website shortly as well because I've got a rack full of different paints to sell. Well, I'm just going to take a very pointy paintbrush and where the etching is, I'm just going to carefully paint up to the line like so. Spin it around a bit for me. Okay, so that's the principle of what I'm going to do. I will go in and do the inside edges as well because they will be visible. So I'll go around each one, paint the inside green. Don't worry if too much you get some on the back, that's going to be covered. Like I said, just all these edges and all those lines. Again, completely optional, you don't have to do this if you want it just to keep it brick. But I'm just going a bit extra for this because this will eventually be going on a layout I'm planning to do for the shop when I get round to it, as well as everything else. So okay, so I've painted all the insides now. Just a bit there. Painted all the insides and I've painted the front. So I'm going to do this along all of these on both sections. And like I showed you before, I'm going to go in and paint the window frames for these. Quickly show you one. So using the same brush, just going to drag it across, basically a dry brush motion. Just build it up gradually. And get them edges as well. This is the most time consuming bit of the build, painting these little fine details in. And I'm going to do the windowsill as well. I'll do the outside of the frame. As you can see, it's quite a thick brush. It's not the most ideal brush, but I'm just using a couple of strands which are stray. That's what I'm using to paint the thin window frame edges. Just do it a bit at a time. Come back, putting a bit more paint on the brush. Okay, so that's the window frame completed for that section. So like I said, I'm going to go now, paint all the rest of the edges. I'm also going to paint for myself the top sections of the station entrance. So it's going to be like a border on top. You'll see the etched line when you see it first hand. Just going to paint to that edge. Like so. So you'll notice that when handling it, a few of the bricks on the corners will come off. That's just the nature of the laser cutting, I'm afraid. But in all fairness, if you go back later on, once we've constructed the model, and using a slightly darker brown or darker red, and just touch up all these little bits, it looks like brick corroded. So if anything, it enhances the model and adds a bit more realism. It doesn't look like a brand new pristine building anymore. It'll have them aged brick sections, and if anything, I will, where I want wear and tear to go round, just using a sharp knife, just scratch some of the brick off as well to add more wear and tear to these brickworks, because if you look at these old buildings, the bricks aren't pristine in by any means. So if anything, these little bits that we get, that'll come off as we're handling it, like so. Just go back later on with a thin paintbrush and just paint these bits in darker brown, and it'll add to the age and weathering process when we come to that stage within the build. So I'm going to go now, like I said, and paint the rest, and the next part of the video will be us constructing the model. So I'll cut here, I'll paint the rest like I said, and we will see you in part 2, or the second part of this video. Right guys, so as you can see, I've got everything painted up now. So the next step, what I'm going to do is just cut out all the grey parts from the cardstock. So as before, just go around and remove all the little tabs left that hasn't been laser cut through. And that will remove or release the parts required when we get them all. Like so. So go around, do that next, and cut out all the dark grey pieces of card. Okay, so I've cut out the dark grey bits now, and the next piece we're going to start with, or to start construction, is the arch piece, which has the bare brick. There's no brick etched on this part of the model. So we're going to take that part. We're going to take the one with the notches cut out, and this is going to be glued on top of the piece like so. So I'm just going to apply some PVA glue on the back of the one with the notches cut out. I'm just going to spread some right down all these legs that are coming towards us. And then I'm going to run some right across the top. Okay. So I'm then just going to place this on top of the other part, line it up with those etched lines, ensure all your legs are nice and level. And then just press it into place and allow that a few minutes to dry. So because this is for one side of the station, we've got identical pieces like so. So I'm going to do the same for the other part, so we're doing both halves in one go. So same process. Okay, so they've had time to dry now. Just take the weights off. It's still a bit wet in some places, but we'll move on with the video. So obviously when you're doing it at home, take your time and allow each piece to dry fully before you go on to the next step. But for the video's sake, I'm going to move on. So we're going to take one of these pieces now. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to take one of the grey pieces, like so, with the arches on. And you'll notice it's got the etched brick detail work on the one side of it, the other side hasn't. So this is going to be facing the outside of the station. So when we glue this on into place on top of here, we want the etched detailing facing up. So white on the back, the etched brickwork detail facing up. So I'm just going to glue this into position now. Same process again with a bit of PVA glue, just go around the edges. Only need a thin layer this because it's thin card, so really spread this about. Okay, so again this should fit exactly to the shape, so just line up all them edges, and before we press it down I'm just going to turn it over, make sure all them window arches are central, which they are. So I'm just going to now press this into place. You can flip it over if you want and just press it down further like so. Okay, and we'll do the same to the other part that we got here before. So again, flip it over, we'll apply some glue to the back. Okay, so again, just going to put some weights on this so it dries flat. And once that's set, we'll come back and we'll carry on with the next stage. Okay, so they're dried enough for me. So the next step is we're going to take one of our sides. We're going to take one of the painted sides we did earlier on with the extra detailing on the outside. So this is going to be for the outside of the station, and this is going to glue on top of our grey card like so. So again, just with some PVA glue, apply it to the grey card this time. Any order doesn't really matter. Spread it about, make sure you get right up to them edges so it stops the card from peeling away, and try and stay away from the windows if possible. Okay, so now I'm going to take the part we had earlier on. It's going to lay this on top of the grey card, And again, as before, just line up all those edges, make sure it's nice and square. Press it into place and allow that to dry. Again, if needs be, to keep it from bending and drying straight, just lay it down flat. Okay, so these sides are dry now. So the next part we're going to do, or the next pieces we're going to need, is from the glass kit, or the glass sections we've got here. I'm going to cut out the large arch sections, which are going to fit inside like so. So you can decide what side you want to glue it to. You want to glue it to the outside, or my preference is to glue it into the inside. So I'm just going to show you what I do. So I'm just going to apply just the tiniest amount of glue to the back of the window frame. Doesn't need much to hold these in. Okay, and then I'm going to drop the plastic into place. Then I'll allow that to dry. So I'm going to do the rest now off camera, and then we'll catch up when we're done. So you follow along, do all the rest in the frames like so, and we'll catch back up in a second. Okay, so we've got those windows glued into those both sides now. So the next part we're going to do is the back side, or the entrance bit for the terminus. As the window frame we painted up earlier on. I'm going to take the other sheet of clear from the window sheet, and this is going to be glued onto the white side, or the back side of the section of model we want. So again, you can see just about where the glue is going to be applied if you overlap it. So we're just going to run some glue around these edges. I'm going to lay this glass section into place, like so, and I'm just going to flip it over, put some weight onto it to stop it moving, and allow that to dry. So again, take some weight back. I'm just going to dry that glass into place, and then we'll move on to the next section. Right guys, so we've got the glass glued into this section now. So we're going to take the reverse, this is the back, this is going to be the outside of the station. And the same process as before, we're going to attach and glue this over that like so, and that will give us both sides with brick detail and work. So again, I'm just going to apply some glue all the way around these edges. Okay, so we've got loads of glue on there now. So I'm going to bring this part back over, place it on top, and again line up all those edges nice and squared and flush. And when you're happy with it, you can really push down and get it up. So I'm trying to align the arches within the station first, making sure this bottom bit's nice and flush. Now on the back side, you'll notice it does overlap a bit. That's meant to happen. You'll see why later on. So just make sure that all your arches and the bottom are nice and straight, and that's where we're good from. So again, I'm going to press that into place. I'm going to put some weights on it and let it dry, and then we'll move back on to the next part of the build. Okay, so the next part we're going to do is we're going to glue the glass to the entrance part for the trains of the station. So this is going to be glassed up like so. So the best glue I've used for this, less messy and you get less glue on the glass itself, is, by all means you can do it with PVA glue, you just have to be very careful when placing the glass on. Yes, I'm going to use some spray mount. I'm going to spray the backside of the frame like so. And then I'm just going to place the plastic where we want it on the frame. And that'll secure that for us. So I'm going to take off the frame away from the piece of paper we've glued to. That will remain sticky. Just put that to the side and allow that to dry. Again, if you've not got spray mount, don't worry, you can use PVA glue to secure it on. Just be careful where you glue it. Don't put too much on, otherwise we'll get some seepage onto the glass. By all means, it does help, and it does aid the look of the weathering, whether you want glass to be dirty or so on. But for the clean look, I've used spray mount, and I found that this version of spray mount is the best because it comes out like a fine mist. You can get spray glue or spray adhesive, but it comes out like a bit like silly string, which is no good. It's not ideal. So if you're going to use spray mount, go for the 3M spray mount with the blue label like so. Right, okay guys, so we're going to start the construction of the station itself now. We've done all the necessary little bits. So to help us keep it nice and straight, I'm just going to run some masking tape as a straight edge first to guide to keep the station nice and square. Doesn't have to be exact, but it helps stuff line up later. So we know roughly that when we start building the sides and construction of the sides, that if we stay within there, we're nice and square. Okay, so if you haven't got a square edge to keep your sides nice and square, cut the corner off one of the cardstock that comes with you. That's a 90-degree angle, and we'll use that as a guide. So we're going to take one of the side sections now, and we're going to apply glue down this edge, and we've got a notch cut out of the side wall we've got here, and there's a notch here, so it's going to align and fit into that notch like so. So I'm just going to apply some glue into that corner, right down that edge. I'm going to do some over that notch and then right up to the top section like so. So I've done all that side. I'm now just going to offer up our wall, fit it over that notch, and if needs be, use this square section like so and just hold that until it starts to set. It shouldn't take too long to start to stick that PVA glue. Okay, so I'm going to do the other side in the same manner, and then I'm going to stand it up like so and square it off with the table where we just glued them there, stuck this tape down. I'm just going to allow that glue to fully dry before we move on to the next stage. So I'll do that now. Okay, so while that's gluing into place, I'm going to take our front section for the station, and I'm going to do it with the glazing on the inside, so the framework's on the outside of the model, and it's got the same notches as the front wall. I'm going to apply some glue down these edges, both sides, and then we'll fit this into place like so. So I'm just going to take some PVA glue, run it over them notches and all that end. And I'll flip this section around, I'll do the same on the other side. Okay, now I'm just going to offer up this part again with those notches at the other end of the model like so. If needs be, like I did the other end, just apply a bit of masking tape, not too much, just to hold that into place while the glue sets. Okay, so I'm just going to let this model, or the glue for all these end pieces now, fully dry before we start moving on to the middle sections. Okay, so that's dried enough now for me to move on to the next part with. So we'll flip the model onto its end, with the face showing towards the work area we've got. So we're going to find our interior girders or supports for the roof. And we've got one that comes without a notch on the end. So this is going to be glued into place. You'll notice on the back brickwork here we've got a space which is basically representing of this part we need. And we're simply going to line up that section on that space with a bit of glue. So I'm just going to pull this away. Don't have to get too carried away with the glue here. Just glue it in a few parts. Okay, so I'm now going to put our piece into position over those etched lines we've got as a guide. And that's that section done. So the next part we're going to require is the thin strip we painted grey earlier on. And you'll see just underneath this window there's an etched space in here. Again, we're going to apply some glue, just a small amount on that line, just enough to hold that grey girder into place. Okay, so that's that for that section. I'm just going to flip it back right way up. And I'll move on to the next stage. So let me just zoom out a bit for you. Spin around a bit. So we've got our notches now, all on the inside of both sides. We're going to take our girders, or our steel structures or supports for the inside of the station, and you'll notice on one side we have etched little lines there just to guide. So I tend to start at the back or towards the station entrance, work towards this way, and I keep all our etched lines facing the same direction. So to apply or to stick these into place, I'm just going to apply some glue over the notches itself like we did before. both sides. And then we can fit them up into the holes on the inside of the wall. And if you do both sides at the same time, it will support itself like so. So we've got our first section in there now. So while that's drying, if we can, sometimes they fall out if we knock the model, but I'll try and carry on so I can show you for the video. So I'm going to do the next one. So again, we want the etched line facing the same way. They're just a guide for the next part of the build. So I've put glue on the edges again. I've put glue on both ends. Just going to find that next notch within the inside of the station. That'll fit in. I'm going to do the other side at the same time. Like so. Just press them against the wall so there's no gaps. Okay, so we've got two internal supports again. I'll move on. Do the next one. I'll push my luck without letting this glue dry first, but I'll try and do a third one for you for the camera. Again, both ends with a bit of glue. Got the etch mark facing the same direction. Okay, so I'm going to do the other two, and then we'll come back once these have dried to show you the next part of the build. Okay, so we're on to the next part of the build. We're going to use all our painted cross pieces that we painted yesterday. Okay, so we're going to take our first section and apply, I'm going to apply a bit of glue to either end. Okay, now using those etch marks we got as a guide, I'm going to place this one in the centre, so roughly in the centre, from side to side, like so. So they're nice and flush with the top of the model, these curves, and the central here. Now the marks we've got going down, halfway down, we want to align one of the top sides like so. So that mark is here. Let me just zoom in and show you. So we've got the mark here. We want to use the top edge as a guide, and it's going to be below that mark we've got. I've put some glue on that piece for it to show you. So we've got the mark here. So the mark is here. I'm going to position one of those side edges up to the mark. We're not going to do halfway like we did the last one, we're just going to do up to the mark. Like so, and we're going to get the tops nice and flush, and we'll get it reasonably square within the model as well. So I'm going to do the same again all the way across for the top. all the way for this side, and then we'll spin the model around and we'll do the same for that side as well. So you may need to allow each section to glue fully before you move on. See how you get on with your glue. If needs be, these are going to be covered, just apply a dab of super glue either end to help secure that into position. Okay guys, so the supports are nice and glued now. The next sections we need to glue on is the glass for the roof. So the glass is going to fit in between these two sections here, and it just barely touches both ends of the model. So the way I started, the way I've done this side, is I get one corner where I want it, and then apply, use a bit of super glue. I know it makes the glass go steamy, but the way I've done the roof, it's covered, it's going to be covered by card anyway, so we won't see that effect. So I'm just going to glue that one corner, and then move up and glue this other corner. So it's right on the lip of this. And I'm going to put a bit in the centre, and using a cocktail stick or at the back of your paintbrush or something, just hold it into place while that super glue sets. Okay, so that's the first part done. So the next section we're going to do is the one closest to the end. So again, it's just going to lap onto the edge of the model like so. So just bringing in that edge a bit. I'm going to glue this corner first. So apply some glue right in that corner. So just going to pull it, the front of the model back a bit so it's on that lip, and then we're just going to hold that into position and let that dry. Okay, so that corner's dried there. Now I'm going to do this one that's still sticking up here. So same again, apply a bit of super glue in that corner, and let's push the model back slightly so we're gluing on the lip. Basically the lip is formed by the glass that we glued in earlier on, and the outside of the frame for the glass work that we got. Okay, and then I'm just going to secure the centre bit with a bit of glue. Okay, so that, now we've done all the four corners, the plastic's held into position. So we're just going to go across each beam, and right at the corner where the top meets, apply a bit of glue and just hold it down. And then we'll move on, do the next bit. Okay, so the top's all glued now. We'll do the same for the bottoms on the cross beams going across the canopy. So just apply a tiny amount of super glue, just press them down. So this is just to basically form the shape of the plastic for when we put glue on our card pieces later. And it's the card that will secure the plastic into place, really. Okay, so we'll come back in a second for the next section of the construction for the roof. Right now, so the glazing for the top of the roof is done. We're going to start with our first section of the roof. So we're going to take our long etched piece, what we've got here. We have two of these in the kit. And this is going to be glued on to those metal supports, or what would be metal supports going throughout the model. So the way I do this is I paint glue onto all these parts here and using a bit of masking tape to hold it down into position while the glue dries. Also, what you want to do with the card piece is gradually curve it over the edge of a table so we've got the same natural shape to the card as what we've got on the roof. It just means that we're not fighting the bend when we're sellotaping and gluing it down. So I'll do that for you in a second. So just run some glue down all these edges. Got enough glue there now. So I'm just going to roll in the card over the edge of the table, the etching towards me. So we've now got a natural curve like so. So I'm just going to line this up and place it into position like so. So where it's raised here slightly, I'm just going to use some masking tape to help hold it down while it dries. So I'm just going to put a bit over the corner here. Place a bit on the bottom there as well. And basically go around, place a bit of masking tape. Don't put too much onto the card itself in case it rips the pattern off the card. A tip to make the masking tape less sticky is to stick it to yourself first, then rip it off. And it takes some of the stickiness away from the card and it's less likely to rip and stick to you. There, stick to the model. So I'm just going to go down all these edges. Like so. And that should be enough to help that form to the shape and glue into place. So while that's drying, I'm going to do the other section this side. So same process, but we can get both done at once. Okay, so this side of the roof's now dry. I can move on to the next part which is going to go on top. So this is the window frames for the glazing that we've got underneath. So to glue this, I'm just going to apply some glue to the back edges. I'm not going to bother going over the frames itself, just the outside edges and these thicker strips in between. That'll be enough for us to glue into position the next roof section. Okay, so just move the model out the way. I'll apply some glue on the side here. Okay, so I've put glue on there now. So I'm just going to line this so it overlaps that joint and that glazing slightly, like so, and curve it over, and we're going to use masking tape to glue down these edges, or hold down these edges while they dry again, like so. Any bits that require a bit more glue underneath, just do that before you apply some masking tape. Okay, now I'm going to go back and glue and tape down the tops. Okay, so we're just going to leave that to dry now. And then we'll repeat the process for the other half of the building. Right guys, so we've glued on both halves of the glazing, or frame for the glazing on top now. So the last remaining part to glue on top is the top cap, or the top roof section. So again, I have given it a little curve, and it's going to fit on top like so, and that's going to finish off the top of the roof. So I am going to just apply some glue down both sides. It's going to go on here and here. In fact, I'll do it on top for you so you can see. So I'm going to go right down these edges on both sides of the model on the roof. Okay, so we've got enough glue on there. And then I'm just going to cap the top gap off now, edge to edge, with the finishing strip like so. So that's the roof section of the model completed. Again, if you're looking at the images at the start of the video or on the website, I've aged and weathered this again with a bit of an airbrush and some weathering powders to make it look dirty, rusty in parts and so on. But for now we'll leave it like so. And the next section we need to build is our front station entrance. So we've got 4 parts like so. I've just noticed I've made a mistake here. Well, I haven't made a mistake, but I haven't finished off painting the roof sections the same, but it doesn't matter for the video. So I'm going to flip the main entrance part over, and we've got some glazing to apply the same as before. So I'm going to take out the rest of the glazing pieces we've got from the kit. Just cut out the other ones. Okay. Okay, so we've got all our glazing bits cut out now, so I think it's pretty obvious where these are going to go, but we'll show you anyway. It's going to go on the back like that, so we're going to start with the arch. Again, not a lot of glue for the glass, just around the perimeter of each section. We don't want the glue to be on the plastic and visible, especially if you're going to light it up. Okay, now we'll do the tall windows. So one customer asked me if the doors could be opened. They're barely attached at the top, so if you just snip through the last little remaining bits at the top, the doors can be opened if that's something you want to model. So they are designed so you can have that choice. Okay, and I'll just do the last two windows. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it down to dry, and then we'll get on with building the actual station entrance. Okay, so that glass is dried enough for me to move on. So I'm going to glue down the edge of one of the side pieces. And glue down one of the edge of the side pieces, like so. I'm just going to line it up right on the edge of the other one, like so. And keep it at 90 degrees to one another. And to help us hold that into position, I'm going to take our roof for this section. Just going to glue down one side and one long side. Just going to position that roughly where I want it. Like so. And then I'm just going to take our last section, glue down one side. So the key thing with the front of the station is that we're gluing on the sides to the face of the station. We're not gluing them onto the side. So the side sections, the side walls, glue onto the face of the section, and the roof then will fit in between the whole of that gap. So as you can see, we've got nice square edges. Sorry, I just moved that while the glue was still wet. Okay, so we've got nice square edges, they all meet up nice and neat, and the last little bits we've got to go back and just touch up with some paint for the roof inside, which we didn't paint earlier on. Okay, so while that's drying, we'll bring back our model. Okay, so while the front of the station is drying, we'll bring back the station, and we've got two last remaining parts which we've painted up with brick detailing. We're just going to paint some PVA glue onto the back of each. And on the front of the station, we've got two etched blank spaces, one either side. That's where these are going to line up and glue onto, like so. So I'll do the other one. Just to line that up, place it onto the model like so. Okay, and we've got some finishing details left for the tops, which are included in the kit. So you want to get the 2 square flat ones first. You can paint these prior to putting them onto the model if you want, the same colour green or whatever colour you chose to do the detail for your model. So these are just caps for the top of these brick supports for the wall, one on either side. Like so. Then we've got some detailing edges to fit onto the brickwork here. So you'll see in that straight line there. Take one of your longer thin pieces you get in the kit. Leave that on nice and straight. And we've got one for the other side. Okay, we'll repeat the process for the other side. Okay, so on the face of the model as well, there's an etched line roughly where the front of the station is going to go glue to. So I'm just going to apply some glue to the front or the back edge of the station, right the way around. Again, this glue all dries clear, so doesn't matter too much if we can see some when we first apply it. Okay, just going to pick the model up, and again just locate the etched lines we've got on the front near those for the arches. Simply slide and press the piece into place like so and allow that to dry. But that is the completed model now done. There's no more part left. So once this is all dried, I'll show you how we just touch up a bit of these bricks that have flaked off while they've been handling it. Okay, so while the front's still drying on, we've got a few bricks missing here that have flaked off while we've been handling it. So I've got some burnt umber, just acrylic paint from a tube, and I'm just going to take a bit of tip on the end of my paintbrush and just paint back in that brick detail. And again, once you go over the corners and touch up all the bits that we need to touch up, it looks like bricks that have been replaced or have got damaged. Throughout the model. So as you can see there, I think the camera shows it a bit darker than what it actually is visible to your light, so you can use a colour similar to the colour we've used to spray it initially. If you still got some left, just go back with that, but that gives us a nice finishing edge. So like I said, that's the completed model now. I'll just zoom out and show you what we've got. Oh, okay then, so that completes the build guide for this being the terminus station. The exact same process for the run through, only you haven't got all this section to build at the end. You'll just have 2 of these, but the roof and the sides are all the same, with the addition that you get doors in 2 of the arches on this side, or it could be any side you like. And the extension is again the same, only you don't get the end pieces because we're using the end pieces from one of the 2 kits, so either the terminus or the run through. But we get all the same supports going through the sides and the roof for the extension. So I hope you enjoyed the build. It's been a real fun one to design, this one, and it looks brilliant, and I do believe there's very little out there on the market as well in respect to this type of station. So I hope to see you all again soon. Please, if you like the model, if you like the build guide, give us a like and a subscribe to the channel, and any new releases we produce, you'll get a notification and a little bell to help you see what we've done. Again, this will be released in the 00 version if that's what you're after. It will come soon. I've just got a few more N-Gauge designs to do first, and then I'll get that onto the website for you. So keep a lookout, and it's been nice to work in the new shop. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you're ever in Blackpool, come and say hello. It's been a bit noisier than my usual videos, I'm sorry about that, but I am on the main road now, so we'll just have to bear with me on that respect. So thanks for coming along for the build guide, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye bye.